Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 79, and I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay. I am here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
Fucking passion. I'm only kidding. It's quite good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, mate, absolutely fantastic. I went to Kelvin Grove Art Museum the other day, which the idea was I was going to go around and do a tour of Kelvin Grove Art Museum and give a tour to people where I was just making up everything about the art, which was great for, like, I'm looking at women and paintings of women. Like, here's Pamela Pamelson, and she was famous for being the person that tried to popularize painting on her own gloves. Because you look at this woman and she's like, obviously her hands are clearly painted, but I'm like, as you can see, that's actually what her hands look like. She painted her gloves on every day. It didn't catch on, but this photo was caught. This painting was taken around that time, so that was fun. But probably more fun because there were virtually nobody in the museum thanks to the whole COVID thing, which made it harder to get random strangers to follow along on my tour.
Good fun though. Did they still have the skulls up and stuff? The floating heads?
Yes, yeah, those
in the hall.
The weird, very strange floating heads.
Were you there in time to hear them playing the organ?
No.
It's fucking astounding.
Yeah.
So that's a recommendation for anyone who's visiting Glasgow or stays there and hasn't been. If you go there when they're doing the playing this giant pipe organ, it's fucking incredible. It sounds massive, and it sits above the door. So when you walk in, it's this big giant hall. It's beautiful, as you know yourself, marble and lots of cool art.
Yeah.
Taxidermy, bones, like remnants of things like swords and shit. It's cool as fuck. And then they just play this big cool fucking organ.
Yeah. Some
So
places
cool.
in there are pretty fun. Aside from that, of course, I'm still plugging away at these Brent Mason solos. I've just uploaded number 51. So we're gonna
Good on you, man.
We're gonna keep going with that. No one cares, but we're gonna keep doing it.
Fender better get their fucking finger out. This is me calling you out, Fender. Get the fucking finger out. Come on, look after this boy.
I think therein lies the problem, though. Like, nobody wants to really work with me because chances are, if you listen to the podcast, I've talked all manner of shite about them. So, but do you know who I haven't talked shite about? This show is brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. If you want to see something beautiful, head on over to Ormsby's Instagram page right now and see what they are all about. Ormsby Guitars have been at the cutting edge of guitar design innovation since Perry started the company way back in 2003. Since then, the brand has gone on to be one of the number one brands associated with Australia and modern guitar design. Aside from having one of the most ridiculous custom shops in the market today and a dedicated team that can essentially build you anything that your heart desires, more recently, the brand has gained critical acclaim for their runs of custom order guitars manufactured in Korea, shipped to Australia, and then sent out through their distributor network. These guitars include incredible designs such as the Hype and the Goliath. If you head on over to Ormsby's website right now and check out the pre-order section, you can pre-order a Goliath Run 14 guitar now for under $1,200. That's an incredible price and an amazing amount of guitar for your money. So, as always, a massive thank you to our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. I was checking out their Instagram just recently because, just because I like Instagram more now.
Because?
Yeah, some of the tops that those guys have been posting, there's some sort of, I think they called it a nebula burl. I'll try and put a picture of that on screen. It was just like, I'm looking at
the
this.
cosmic style one.
Oh.
So cool, man. So cool. Have you seen the other one that's got the laser etching on it with gold as well? Or the astronomy style one?
Yeah.
Oh, mommy, daddy.
Yeah, just over-the-top niceties. And I think it's good that we start the show by talking about some over-the-top niceties because I'll be completely honest with you, outside of that one nicety, we've got quite a sad show today, don't we? It's quite depressing news all around. I feel that that's largely what the Guitar Souls is nowadays. The idea was always it being us raging and ranting at things that we thought were ridiculous. But now I think we're going to be in this situation where we're just going to be crying into our beers that we don't have. Unfortunately, no beers in hand because story number one of today, the most important story, is, of course, the legend that is Eddie Van Halen is no longer with us. Eddie Van Halen passed away at the age of, I probably could have researched that.
65.
Yeah, that sounded about right, but I didn't want to say it. Thank you, Mike.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yes, 65. It's shocking, but I mean, it's also not shocking. Obviously, his battle with cancer hasn't been something that was kept necessarily private, and I don't mean that as in it's been paraded about, but we knew it was coming, and the sad truth is we were all hoping. I'm sure I'm not speaking on anyone's behalf in any unfair way to say we were hoping it would be later rather than sooner.
Sure.
So rest in peace, rest in power. I mean, the jam band in heaven is going to be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, suddenly they're all very intimidated because the king has showed up.
That's it.
It really is a tragic one. But also at the same time, I mean, I think it's relatively safe to say that Eddie was never going to release a great album again, either way, even if he stuck around. So the only thing that we've really lost is being able to meet the man. His legacy is still as intact as it always was. He's still the greatest rock guitar player that's ever lived, and I will fight any of you in the park. I will take my shirt off and fight anyone that disagrees with me on that.
Only fair. Fair. I did read another story that we're not covering, but just as a throwaway asides, there were rumours that Van Halen had made plans to make up with, is it Michael Anthony?
Yep.
The original bass player?
Sure. To
get him back in the fold before he became ill and before he passed away. So, I mean, that would have been incredible to see it happening, but...
Yeah, I'm sure I mentioned this on the show before. I've seen Van Halen live and travelled all the way over to New York to do it, because it was David Lee Roth playing with Van Halen. So David Lee Roth, Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, but unfortunately Wolfgang Van Halen on bass. I say unfortunately, he's been playing in Van Halen for a very fucking long time, but it would have been nice to see Michael Anthony playing in Van Halen, get the original lineup going. That I totally would have been cool. But also at the same time, like I say, Eddie's not really had it for a long time. His legacy is the important thing, and that's still that will never go anywhere. We've got a few Van Halen related stories that we're going to bring up today. I just wanted to make mention of Andy Wood. Andy Wood put up a ridiculously good video of him playing Eruption, like ridiculously good. And he caught a lot of flack from people for that, ironically.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people saying that, oh, typical, here come the YouTubers all cashing in on Eddie Van Halen dying. I'm like, is that really what's going on here? Are we cashing in on the fact that Eddie Van Halen's died by talking about him? Is that...
I don't think paying tribute to possibly the most innovative guitar player of our lifetimes is in any way, shape or form being a shill or being out of order. I tell you, right, I was saving this rant, but this is a perfect segue almost, right?
Sure.
There have been some unbelievably selfish, disgusting, amoral cunts trying to profit on Van Halen passing away, selling the first edition Blockletter 5150s at ridiculously inflated prices, people asking like nearly $2,000 for them. And if that is you, put that up back in your garage, delete the listing, and just fucking jump in a river or something, man. Let somebody else discover that and have a nice wee, amazing, look at that for a find in the garage. But you, if that is you, I haven't seen many listings like that. I did have a look, but I've seen a few people posting about it. But if that is you, please drink petrol and eat a match. Just fucking get to fuck. That's disgusting, man. Yeah. That's genuinely disgusting, though.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. Like, is the idea of profiteering off of someone's death is totally a thing. That can be done. There will be, numerous amounts of knockoff T-shirts hitting Facebook Marketplace now of people just, putting any Eddie Van Halen related shirt together so they can sell it on cheap and just make a bit of money. That's disgusting. But someone like Andy Wood, a massive Van Halen fan, somebody that has gone out of his way to point out that the reason he plays electric guitar is because of Brent Mason and Eddie Van Halen. Those two influences.
I think the first sentence that he had on that post was about how at the age of 14 or 15 he heard Van Halen and that was just it for him. Like he had to learn.
Yeah. So he made a follow-up video, and Andy is the nicest guy in the world. We're big fans of Andy. I love Andy to bits. Just the nicest guy. I've never seen him say anything negative about anybody, but he did make a follow-up video to that one, absolutely ripping into people that would say that he's somehow cashing in on Eddie's death. And so he should, because he put this video up the day, if not the day after Eddie died. You don't learn Eruption, a perfect rendition of Eruption, from scratch if you've never been a huge Eddie Van Halen fan in a day. Andy knew that piece. He might not have had it perfect. He might have had to brush it up and get it to a standard where he could record it. But nothing is a more fitting tribute to the man than playing such an iconic piece of music,
and playing it well, playing it right, and like as a tribute. Like
to his hero. You know, like
exactly. It's such a beautiful thing. And all I was going to say is like, your point of you couldn't just learn that in a day. I think Andy probably could, but that's not the point. The standard human, not Andy Wood, would probably struggle to learn it like that in a day.
But even then, even if there are guys out there that have YouTube channels, let's say big YouTube channels, bigger, like 10 times bigger than mine, if they want to go out of their way to learn a Van Halen riff, to play a Van Halen riff so they can talk about Van Halen, somebody that they weren't a big fan of, so what? So fucking what? I hate this idea of like, you see it a lot in the Holdsworth community, this idea that, oh, well, you shouldn't play Alan's music. Alan was an original and he hated the idea of people playing covers. Alan always played original things. Alan wouldn't really like you playing covers of his music. And I've actually got it a fair amount with Danny Gatton, like people ripping into me for playing Danny's stuff and talking about Danny and having a Danny Gatton guitar. Someone coming at me and being like, what does an Englishman know about Danny Gatton? I'll think you find that you've never seen Danny Gatton play live. I live in Washington and I used to go see Danny play all the time, and you're pissing all over his legacy by even pretending that you know what the man was about. And it's like, fuck you Gatton fans, fuck you Holdsworth fans, and fuck you Van Halen fans that would just absolutely be so happy to see your hero's legacy die with them. These guys are keeping that legacy alive. They're keeping and getting new young people excited in the idea of Van Halen. That's cool. That is kind of the same. We made this argument with Post Malone doing the Eric Johnson thing, right? It's the same idea. You're right. You're not pissing over Eric Johnson's music by playing it not quite as well as he played it. Like, you're tipping your hat to somebody that you think is fucking cool, and you're keeping their music alive. So yeah.
Gatekeepers can fuck off.
Gatekeeping Van Halen fans. There's my rage. Let's do the positive spin on this.
I was just going to say that it's obviously a very dark cloud, but the silver lining is, as reported by Metal Sucks, Van Halen song sales spiked over 6,000% following Eddie's death, which is a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Ridiculous number. I mean, it still doesn't mean that the rest of the Van Halen band who are entitled to the royalties are going to get much money for Spotify.
Sure.
But it speaks for itself how much of an influence Eddie himself was, and as part of the band. Like, 6,000%. I don't imagine Van Halen like didn't have much of a following anyway. They would probably still had quite a lot of listens.
Yeah.
But the 6,198% jump reported by Billboard on the day that he died is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is...
I'll put a negative spin on it. We are talking 6,000% on not very much in the first place, and not because they don't sell a lot of albums, but because just the idea of record sales is a non-thing these days.
I know.
Seeing this saying that their 1978 self-titled debut album moved 2,000 units the day he died, and you just have to look at that and be like, 2,000? Is 2,000 really the biggest number? It's sure, I'd be happy to sell 2,000 albums. But this is an album that sold millions of copies.
Of course, but that's one day.
Yeah,
one day.
Yeah, and by all accounts though, all round good guy. Eddie was an all round good, generous guy, well known for burying Dimebag with the original Bumblebee guitar. Which I
didn't want to put a replica in because he felt it wasn't a fitting tribute, and gave him the actual, or not gave him, but laid it to rest with this iconic piece of music history.
Yeah, and along with the justification of a true original deserves the original, which is really fucking cool. I was reading a story on Twitter actually about him. Somebody they posted a picture of a guitar that Eddie had donated for a charity auction type thing. And this guy had contacted him and asked if he would be willing to donate a signed guitar for a charity auction thing. And Eddie seemed to think that the guy was talking about one of his original Frankenstrats and seemed game. And the guy was like, no, not one of the, no. Just one of your EVH striped guitars. That would be absolutely fine type thing. So by all accounts, very, very generous man. So I recommend everybody go and give Van Halen 2 a spin, because that is my favorite Van Halen album. Don't get me wrong, 1984 is great. The self-titled debut is a classic, but Van Halen 2, that's what it's all about for me. That album's full of some great songs. And let's pretend that the Van Hagar stuff didn't happen. So
Van who?
Exactly. I like what you did there.
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
Sorry, I'll tell you about it later on, because you know what? It's not appropriate to talk about right now. No, genuinely. Okay. It's just bad timing. We'll crack on.
I'll take your word for it. Let's laugh. Let's laugh about the Dumble.
Oh man,
We've done the sad. Let's do the happy.
Yeah.
Because we always have to report any time a Dumble's on sale, don't we?
Of course we do, because we're going to buy it. They don't cost a lot of money. They're this hidden secret that nobody knows anything about.
Yeah.
So you can get them for nothing.
And we just want our fan base to know, if you've got a bit of spare change kicking around and you've been thinking about picking up a new amp, there is on Reverb right now a Dumbbell Overdrive special, the OD50WX, a 50-watt guitar amplifier head and cabinet. So to be fair, it is coming with a cabinet, so totally justifiable. As you can see from the images on screen, it's an amp. Can confirm it's an amp.
It's multi-watt, so you could run it wherever you wanted. So you've got that switchable, which is nice. Obviously, they've put a bit of effort into wiring the transformer properly, although it does come with a US plug. That's quite nice, you know what I mean? See, here's where one of my problems is with it, right? 4 ohm speaker load. Just 4 ohms, you know what I mean? So I'm sure that brought the price down to where it is at the moment, because obviously there's restrictions on who could use it, but it does come with the right cab, which is nice.
The thing I like is it's listed, well, I don't know if you see the same, but for me it says that this item is predicted to sell soon. It says there's only one available and 2 people currently have it in their carts.
Yes. Well, we could make that 3, because I think I'm going to buy it.
Well, the seller is open to taking offers. So if you would like to make an offer, that would be very much appreciated. And I hope that at this stage, everybody listening to the podcast is speculating how much this amplifier costs. Allow me to put you out of your misery.
I hope they're on their arse.
Allow me to put you out of your misery. It's 6 digits. It's £102,365. £102,365. Mike, what's that in dollars?
I'm actually just looking how you change it on here to see what the price would be, and I don't know how. But
$127,000.
All right, okay. Pocket change in.
$127,000. So
plus £403 and 1 pence shipping.
Yeah.
So don't forget the shipping. They can't include that. You know what I mean? They're not making much profit here. They need to be careful.
You know, I was considering it, but I just think those shipping rates are a bit unreasonable.
See, that's my problem, mate. I agree with you. See the cab that it comes with? Was that the original enclosure, or is somebody just took a Mesa Boogie and pulled the actual lamp out of it? Because it looks like a Subway Rocket or some form of Mesa Tweed.
I have absolutely no idea. Absolutely none.
So I would say that devalues it. So I'm only going to offer 101,000.
Yeah. Maybe make an offer for 100,000, and see what he says. I've just been going through our stories, and I can see that on the Van Halen front, we missed the Gibson side of things, didn't we?
Oh, that's a very good point. So, are we going to get any rant time again?
Yeah, let's rant. Okay, that's what this show's all about, right?
Techno Empire in North Hollywood, California, that's selling this Dumbbell Overdrive special on Reverb. Good luck. If you get that money, I'm happy for you. That's I'm not being snide. Genuinely, the problem we've got is that the market dictates the value. If people are willing to spend that, then people are willing to sell it at that price. So, up to yous. Wire in. Anyway, let's talk about Mark Agnesi once again.
Shite bag of the century.
Once again.
Yeah.
It just seems to be that no matter what he does, it is in some way, shape, or form shitting on Gibson's legacy, their public image, and the guitar and music community as a whole, as if, like, I think he thinks he's, like, really sly with what he does, but he's super transparent, and it's really, really, really out of order. So I'm going to let you get into it, because I know you're going to go for it.
This is a great example of someone taking advantage of Eddie's death. So this story was sent to me by Barry, good old Barry McAleenan, who has submitted a few interesting stories to us. We like to shout out to Weebazza. Mark Agnesi over on Instagram posted a couple of pictures of Eddie Van Halen with Gibsons. Sure, fair enough. Cool, but on his story, he literally spewed any picture of him with Gibsons. Barry says maybe he's being a bit skewed here. Yes, he has played Gibsons from time to time, like every rock star, but he was never really associated with him. Agnesi is, knowingly or not, using Eddie Van Halen's death as an advertising opportunity for Gibson. I knew he was a tool, but this is really shitty. Get him wrecked. And couldn't agree with you more, Barry. What an absolute pile of shite to do.
See if it was 2 photos of Van Halen on the timeline, there's 2 posted at the moment, and it was just pictures of Eddie. Fair enough, right? But to go out and specifically pick the ones where he's holding Gibsons, one of them he's got a fucking Kramer sitting behind him. Like, what image are you trying to put out here, Mark? That you thought that, I don't know, that was a responsible way to talk about what you're implying as somebody that you, like an idol that you've lost that you're upset about, but somehow still being a fucking shill.
Yeah, and that's exactly
terrible human.
He's just full on shilling here, because if you really get to the core of what this message results in, so Mark posts all these photos and it's Eddie Van Halen holding a Gibson. The people that look at those pictures, they're not going to look at them and go, oh, wow, so Eddie liked Gibsons, maybe I should buy a Gibson. They're not going to think that at all. They're going to look at these pictures and go, huh, I didn't know Eddie played Gibson. Oh, hang on a minute, Eddie didn't play Gibson. Eddie chose to play things that weren't Gibson. So by posting these pictures, are you drawing attention to the fact that Eddie Van Halen would have rather played other things? Eddie chose a different brand. You have outed yourself as coming second place. Not even second place, to be fair. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very strange thing to do. Very, very strange thing to do.
It reeks of ignorance to me.
Yeah.
As if like there's some pedestal that Mark holds himself and Gibson on, and it's like, we're untouchable and everybody loves us and we are the best brand that's ever existed, and anyone that thinks otherwise is stupid. And okay,
let's get Mark Agnesi right in the bin.
Can we cancel him?
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel Mark Agnesi.
I'm alright with that. Hashtag cancel Mark Agnesi. I'm not okay with cancel culture, but Mark Agnesi, I mean, come on. If we were trying to cancel him for ridiculous things, then fair enough, or matters of opinion. We're not trying to cancel him by accusing him of being something that he's not. We're trying to cancel him because I just think everybody's lives would be a little bit better if Mark Agnesi's name never came up again. You know what I mean?
I don't even want to cancel him because we would have so little content for the Gibson front that didn't include him. You know what I mean? He may as well send us a write-up every week. Here's what I've done. Please mock me.
Yeah, he's an absolute fucking train wreck. So thank you very much for that, Barry. Appreciate the story.
Yes.
We are going to now... okay. So we talked about Eddie Van Halen burying Dimebag with the Bumblebee. So let's just briefly talk Pantera. Just a little bit more. Eddie being buried with the Bumblebee in a kiss coffin, of course. We're famous for being buried in a kiss coffin. So let's talk about Vinnie Paul and the things that he left behind.
I mean, you probably can't see the things that he left behind unless you've got a blacklight, but Metal Injection are reporting that fundraiser launched to restore Vinnie Paul's limo. Fans who donate $33 get their name engraved in the trunk of the limo. Fair enough. So I'll read this story. This was posted 4 days ago by Metal Injection. One of late Pantera / Hell Yeah drummer Vinnie Paul's favourite rides was his white 1997 Lincoln Town Car stretch limousine.
Now, I'm going to stop you there. I was genuinely terrified that you were going to say drummer Vinnie Paul's favourite rides was his white wife. Because Pantera.
You're probably right, but there was one member of the 4 that was the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rest of them were like, so I'm going to give them plausible deniability, or the benefit of the doubt. After Vinnie passed away, the estate gifted the vehicle to Sirius XM personality Josie Mangan, sorry, I could be completely wrong, but the damn thing is in rough shape. Josie is looking to restore the vehicle and needs help from the Pantera acolytes. Josie and his friend photographer Sonny Galen have launched a GoFundMe to help restore the limo to its previous glory. Josie writes, I recently inherited Vinnie Paul's stretch limousine. What the fuck? I know, right? That's exactly what went through my head when I got the call telling me that Vinnie's estate decided that I would be the honourable recipient to take on this legendary vehicle. They knew that I would love it, care for it, respect it as a Pantera museum on wheels, and bring it roaring back to life. So many celebrities, family, friends, strippers, politicians, and more have been inside this limo. Marilyn Manson famously did donuts outside Vinnie's clubhouse one time. Vinnie used to drive it to go shopping, drive through restaurants, and of course to party all the time. I had the honour of partying in it back in 2008 in Dallas, and Vinny played me some Hell Yeah demos out of his monstrous sound system. I remember my insides were vibrating so hard from the intense volume and kick from those speakers. God damn. Now, all these years later, I find myself in a very extraordinary situation, one that I would never imagine, being the proud new owner of Vinnie Paul's limousine. Vinny wanted to restore this limo while he was alive, but it cost way too much. He even contacted a known TV show to help him pimp it out, but they wanted a ton of money to fix it up. It needs a shit ton of work. Getting the limo to California from Vegas has burned a hole through my wallet, along with other expenses that barely got this beast rolling. It's going to take a lot to get this on the road again. I need to pay for engine work, body work, paint, transmission, power window and trunk motors, stereo visual equipment, super important in brackets, tyres, wheels, brakes, lights, interior seats and carpet, vinyl roofing, front windshield, sunroof, detailing, registration, insurance, storage, and more costs that I have no idea that will undoubtedly happen. I need your help, please. Here's where you come in. Every dollar donated will go to complete the restoration of the limo that I inherited from my idol, Vinnie Paul. If you can donate $33 or up, you'll get your name engraved on the inside of the trunk. It could be your name, your band name, your organisation, your company, your pet's name, or anything you want. Whatever it is, it'll be forever immortalised on this iconic piece of rock history. Throughout the limo pimping out process, we'll be updating this page and our socials with cool videos and exclusive content. I can't do any of this without your help. Massive thanks to my brother Sonny Gwillan for the great idea after hearing me stress out about how I was going to pay for this stuff. He convinced me to do this, and I appreciate his assistance in helping me to run and manage this. We know that this is an extremely difficult time, and we're not asking you to hurt your bank account or not pay a bill because of this. But if you can donate to help me... Sorry, the adverts keep jumping up and down, and it's really confusing. But if you can donate to help get this piece of heavy metal history back on the road again and get your name engraved inside the Pantera limo, well then, it's a win-win for all. Hope you're healthy and safe, and thank you for considering, maybe for donating, but mostly for loving heavy metal and the music Vinny and Dime left behind. Peace in a celebrated cloud of music. Josie, Metal Ambassador, Mansion.
Right, I hope you haven't opened the GoFundMe.
Nope.
Good, don't open it.
Okay.
How do you feel about this then?
I don't have a problem with it.
It sounds like they want to build a completely new limo.
Oh, I was going to say, the list that he gave, it's like Trigger's brush. Completely original. He's only had 25 handles and 36 brushes.
Yeah. No, it's just a solid no from me, because it's like, this is you're not restoring it so it can be in a museum. You're not restoring it so I can go and, have a ride in it. You're restoring it because it's your limo. It's your little fucking vanity project, and you want it to be as good as it used to be. And now the fans can have their name engraved in the trunk. So what? Oh, the business is, and my business is going to have our name engraved on the trunk. That's a good bit of advertising. Like, come on.
I mean, it's not meant to be for any sort of advertising or whatever. And I get where you're coming from, but I would think, given the heritage of the limousine and how it was used, I would hope that it must be Jose. It's not Josie, isn't it? Not, am I saying this completely wrong? I've been a total dick. I'm just going to continue with Josie because I'm wrong. I think his intentions are to have it fixed up and to have it do what it did before, which is be outside the shows, have people in it, and for it to be like the party limousine, the Pantera limo. So if the intentions are for this to be fixed up to look fucking swag, and for everybody that's donated to have the opportunity, if they're at a show that's nearby the limousine, to go and check out what they've contributed to and whatever else, fair enough. If this gets finished and all paid for and everything looks great and then it's flung in this guy's garage, nah.
It won't get flung in this guy's garage, but at some point it will get sold, won't it?
Well, you know what I mean? Like, if it gets sold, so what? If people want to donate, I'm cool with that, as long as they're not donating to something they're never ever going to get anything back from. And I don't think having your name engraved in the trunk is enough. I think if the opportunity is that this guy's going to then take it out into public and have it at shows, have it at festivals, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that idea, that'll be super cool.
Yeah.
I've got a great lasting memory of being in a party limo the first time I went to the States. There was this big limousine sitting outside the venue, the DNA Lounge in Oakland, California. No idea who it was, no idea what was going on, but it was just like, come into the limousine, come and get a drink. It was just cool as fuck, man. Just so cool. So if that is the idea of it, I'm down.
Like, I'm not anti-crowdfund, as you know. I'm a big supporter of the idea of crowdfunding, but I always think it's really important that something is being given in return, that you're getting something in return. And just saying, oh, you can have your name on this. You might get to see your name, but probably won't. I'm really against that as an idea. You need to be giving something to people when you're asking for money from them. So the goal is $33,000. Where do you think it's sitting at currently?
100,000.
That relieves me a little bit. No, it's at $26,000, so I'm sure it will probably hit its target.
When you said have you opened it yet, I was like, it's probably shot right up. I mean, to get the majority of that money so quickly, 3 days is fucking ridiculous as is.
Yeah, I wanted you to have the opportunity to have a wee guess. Let's move on and let's give the audience a chance to do some guessing though. Then, so Metallica's "Ride the Lightning" test pressing sells on Discogs. Tell us more about this.
This was Loudwire again. I won't tell how much, but I'll read some of the story.
Yeah.
A vinyl test pressing of Metallica's 1984 Ride the Lightning album has sold for a whopping on Discogs, the recorded music database and marketplace that's all the rage with record collectors. I've never really been on Discogs myself, but I know a few guys who are really into their vinyl.
Yep.
Friends of Kendo's as well these days. And they are always in like record shops and charity shops and trying to find something, and sometimes they're getting like records that are valued at 200 odd quid for like pennies. So it seems like it's a good thing to invest in if you're willing to take the risk, because I think with vinyl it's always going to be up and down, isn't it? It's such a niche thing to be into, same as like death metal merch. Remember I was telling you before, and everybody before, the listeners, about how there are some bands and some pieces of merchandise that just go for exorbitant prices. So that happens. Anyway, I'll continue with this story. The high dollar sale was the largest transaction on the site this August, as evidenced in a summary of the top 30 most expensive items sold on Discogs.com for that month. Besides Metallica's sophomore effort, others included a copy of Nirvana's first ever vinyl single, 1988 Love Buzz, with a BW, Big Cheese. I'm not sure what BW is. Which sold for $3,500, and an original UK pressing of the Beatles' 1963 debut LP, Please Please Me, purchased at $3,369. Nice.
Yeah.
While in 2020, both of those vinyl records' first issues are notoriously hard to find, especially in tip-top condition, none are as elusive as the test pressing of a Metallica release. Just by sheer numbers, any test pressing of an album is going to be a lot rarer than its retail counterparts. It's simply because vinyl test pressings are only ever manufactured in limited quantities for artists, producers and record labels to approve before a release gets sent off for full-scale fabrication. So I think that's enough time for people to have a wee think about how much it would be. Do you want to do the honours? You want me to?
Oh, you can do it.
Okay, so the other ones that were on the list that we mentioned was Nirvana's first single, which was $3,500. The Beatles was $3,369. And I would probably think that something for the Beatles would get more money than Metallica.
Yeah.
But as mentioned through that, the fact that it's such a rare thing, a test pressing, this sold for a whopping $5,000.
Oh. And
that's insane.
Yeah, well, from reading the rest of the story, there is another copy for sale from a seller in Russia for $7,000. So, yeah,
it's madness.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I think it's just more proof that Metallica will never be knocked off the top spot, really, when it comes to metal bands. Like, they are the most commercially viable and successful metal band out there.
I loved the verbiage you used there, commercially viable, because I was going to interject and say commercially viable before you said that. But yeah, we're in total agreement. Like, they are just commercially viable. And in 2020, it's very difficult to say anything is commercially viable. And I can use that as a really nice segue to Mastodon.
Very nice. I like that. You're sharp today, man. Fuck's sake. Right, cool. I'll let you read this story. I haven't read it yet.
Me neither. No, I can't read. I'm having to reload the story because for some reason it's I'm just getting a blank page now when I try and open it.
When you said I can't read, I just had this. I don't know why in my head. I just had you doing a Zoolander. I can't look left. I don't know why. Just out of nowhere. Magnum.
I'm trying to do my Blue Steel. Right.
There's something more than life than being really, really, really good looking.
That I can
What
tell
a
you.
film, man.
Yeah.
What a film. Speaking of films, before we go into this story,
Sure.
I was talking to Nancy. She's never seen Dogma, and I want to watch it with her.
I've not seen Dogma in a very long time. Very,
Well, the
very
first
long
thing she said to me is, does it pass the Bechdel test? And I was like, I think so. So she looked it up. And it does. But she's like, I still don't know if I want to watch it. And I'm like, you do. You really do. And I never told her anything about the film. But I was like, you really do. Because it's tremendous.
Yeah, I don't get that logic with do I want to watch this? Like, it's a film that somebody's told you about that they say is great. You should definitely want to watch it. So you can either share in its greatness or you'll have something to discuss afterwards.
I think it's not so much like an unwillingness to watch it. I think it's more so like want to watch something that you have more interest in, and maybe save that for a time where you're a bit more explorative.
Yeah,
and you're like you're willing to try something a bit different.
Yeah,
I certainly find that way. Sometimes we'll be thinking of something to watch, and it'll be like, I try an episode, and then I'm fucking hooked, or it'll be something that I'm dying to watch, and I'll watch one episode and go, it's not really for me. Just depends what mood I'm in. Anyway, sorry, we'll go back to Mastodon. I'm sorry, I went totally off topic there.
No, it's cool. So Mastodon guitarist talks about going on unemployment and the economic realities of band life. Now, I'm sure we've run with similar stories concerning Mastodon specifically in the past about this. They are, top tier metal band, big festivals. They would we say arena metal band? I guess it depends what your definition of arena, but they're certainly one of the bigger names in the game. Yeah,
I think they would potentially be a support act on an arena tour.
Sure.
I don't think they would be headlining just yet, but there's every chance it would come.
Yeah.
The only thing that really stops them in my mind is the fact that the music has progressive elements, because when it comes to like melody and sound, they're pretty easy to get into, and their music's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And they obviously do well.
Yeah.
Or well.
Not well enough.
Exactly. Maybe I'm speaking a bit sharp there.
So Mastodon guitarist Bill Kelliher recently joined me on the Quarantine cast. Sorry, this is reported by Metal Sucks. And was startlingly forthcoming about the economic realities of being in a band, even one at Mastodon's level. Not only during this pandemic, but even during the best of times. Kelliher spoke about how his investments in real estate have kept him afloat despite the band not having worked since their tour with Coheed and Cambria back in July 2019, and how it's been difficult to make ends meet even with that additional revenue stream. So let's try and read this quote. So,
you want me to read it? I
Sure.
don't mind doing the quote. Sure. So
I can't read.
I can't look left. Stop it, man. You're just making me want to do it.
Let me try. That's easy. There's something over there, I'm sure. I'll tell you what, I'll turn the chair. There we go.
Cheater. Can you imagine I just read this full quote in Zoolander's voice?
I mean, I feel like you should now.
No, because I'll get lost about halfway through and fuck myself. So if it weren't for my wife and her stable job for the past 20 years, I don't know how well off I'd be. You're every musician on the planet, mate.
Yeah.
Every fucking musician on the planet goes, oh, thank fuck she's making money, because I don't need to worry about this or that. And it's not because you don't want to contribute, it's because you need to be realistic.
Yeah.
We've been lucky and we've been smart. We didn't waste money. We put money into buying houses in our neighbourhood and being landlords. Tories. I'm kidding. But still, that's a whole other job. That's half the things I do in the daytime. Mowing people's lawns that are my tenants and fixing leaky roofs and trying to get to the bottom of strange smells coming out the toilet or whatever.
That's amazing.
That's reality.
The idea of Bill Kelliher running around with a lawnmower.
I know. Or like elbow deep down the U-bend of a toilet, pulling out a big shite.
Pulling out a Leviathan.
Aye. Like,
see what I did there? That album's called Leviathan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's enough. Fuck off. You put me right off there. Anyway, that's reality. I've always done that though, so it's not like a new thing. I've always been like, well, this is kind of what people do. You got to have investments. I've learned from people that are older than me, and I always listen to them, especially when it comes to dealing with money and what you do. Because I'm not going to be able to do Mastodon for the rest of my life, and I knew that at an early age. It's like this is going to run out at one point. Something is going to happen. Hopefully we can do it as long as we can, but I haven't worked in over a year. There's no money coming in. There's not big royalty checks that just come in every month. And that's the truth, because people don't buy the music. I mean, there's a little bit of residuals from publishing and stuff, but it's peanuts. It's nothing. It's quarterly payouts on a couple $1,000 if we're lucky. And it's all taxable money, just like everyone else. Just say to yourself, imagine if you couldn't work for over a year. I mean, I'm on unemployment because I own a few businesses. Mastodon's a business and we have employees. We're all out of work and we had the option to apply for unemployment. We pay into it through corporate unemployment taxes, so we might as well use it if it's there, because if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have any income at all.
Is he not contradicted himself there by saying that he's a landlord?
No, I think he's talking about there's no income in terms of the band.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't worked.
Yeah, but he's saying I wouldn't have any income at all. I mean, you would have income. You're a landlord.
Well, it depends who owns the house. Maybe the wife has it coming in, or there's not any money coming in the sense that, let's think about it, everybody at the moment is struggling to pay rent. So I would think maybe he's one of these mythical landlords that isn't just like, fuck you, pay me. So you don't know. You know what I mean?
Still mowing the lawns going, fuck you, pay me at some point, as soon as you're able to. Pay
That's it.
Okay, carry on.
I don't care what's going on. Pay me when it's convenient for you.
The best type of landlord.
Exactly. So Keller elaborated, outlining the financial difficulties that all bands will face even when touring does come back in some capacity, which is true. We're not selling records, we're not touring. That's where all our income comes from, getting up every day and going up on stage and playing for an hour and doing it over and over and over and over all over the world. We can't do that right now, and I don't know if we ever will be able to do that again. In some capacity, we will be able to play live again, but even if they can get everybody's shit together as far as promoters and booking agents and venues and all that stuff, it's going to be like 2 years from now. And when they do, if they're even still open, how are people going to pay for rent on a club that they own during the downtime? If no one's going there for a year, 2 years, I mean, these places live paycheck to paycheck. I know they do. They're not just owned outright by the promoter or whatever. It's a whole network of people. Even by the time COVID is under control, hopefully, fingers crossed, promoters will still have to pay all these bands in advance, but they're not going to have that money to pay bands in advance, at least 50%. That's what we ask for, so that we can guarantee we're going to show up, to guarantee we're going to play. And then they pay us the rest, the other 50%. That's what it is every day. You get one band in and you're waiting to pay them until the next band comes in and makes you money. So that's going to fuck everything up, and you're going to see a lot of these cool venues going under. The big places like Live Nation, even they're hurting. If they're hurting, then the little guy's got to be completely dying. And I can attest to that. I've got quite a few friends of mine who are fairly successful promoters or band managers on Facebook and throughout real life, and they have had almost no support for the UK government. I'll come back to that once I finish this quote. And I can just see that when it comes around time for us to do another tour, Live Nation will have been hurting so long, they're going to be like, well, we can't pay you what you normally are worth because we need to recoup our money. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, where do we start with that? We all need to recoup. We've all been unemployed. All of us are hurting. We all have businesses. We all have mouths to feed. Which is really fair. When I was saying I was going to come back to it, I'll just very quickly say this. My understanding is that, remember we spoke a few episodes about the British Arts Grant?
Yes.
Apparently none of that's really been distributed to any of the venues or anything that it's supposed to have been,
right.
And the money's just unaccounted for at the moment. So the arts grant funding that's supposed to have been saving venues and live acts and theatres and whatever else, another Tory lie.
You're on
Somebody
your own,
stole
boys. You're on your
It's
own.
in the bin.
We're all on our own. Be out there on your own. Enjoy being
That's
on your
it.
own.
Yes.
Alone. Forever alone.
We're all forever alone, except I know I always come back to this, the Tories.
Mike's doing his angry thing. Sorry, I'll mute him. Don't worry, guys.
But look, here's the gist of it, right? We're going through a global pandemic.
Yes.
People have had somewhat of a bit of furlough. They've done another furlough scheme that's now less money, but your bills aren't changing.
Yep.
The banks have been asked, without any actual instruction for the government, to help forgive missed payments and whatever else. But somehow, when nurses, the ones that were saving everybody for COVID and treating the people that were ill and holding up the NHS and the infrastructure that keeps everybody alive, when they ask for a pay rise, we don't have the money. And it's just been announced that Westminster have agreed, because they're public sector, they should get a wage rise. Their starting salary is 82 grand, and their costs, or the cost of living that they've decided matches the yearly inflation is 4.1%, so they're going to get a further 4 or 5 grand. I think that 4 or 5 grand that the MPs are supposed to get should get split up into the NHS, and we should just clap for these cunts, because everybody else get a clap for working hard throughout it, whereas the government the British government have more or less just victimised the poor, split the classes, made class wars worse, and took the piss. In political rant.
Yeah, Mike's inevitable.
Because I can see in your face, you're like, fucking shut up, man.
But
I want to know in the comments, for anybody that's watching this on YouTube, or even if you're listening on SoundCloud and you want to send a message to us on the Facebook, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. If I'm wrong, or you think that I've got the wrong end of the stick, fire it at me. If you think I'm right and you agree with me and you've got any further comments to add, also fire it to me. Because I think it's embarrassing how badly the current government, the UK government, are running things, and how stupid they think people are, and ignorant that people are that support them that aren't in the top bracket of being like the rich and the richest class in the UK, because they've very easily turned the working class and the middle class against each other. People thinking that any talk about a tax raise is going to affect them because they make 35 grand. It might, but it's not going to be much. Whereas they're talking about tax raises and these people that are earning £1 million, 2 million, hundreds of millions, the people that are literally just taking the money, putting it in Panama or Jersey or wherever else, they can tax haven it and just taking the piss. There's way more, billions of public money has went into companies that are associated with Tory and Tory donors and members, and genuinely more than $1 billion. In the last year, apparently for PPE, for the COVID-19 stuff, including one that's owned by Michelle Moan's friend, who's now a Tory peer, no tender process whatsoever. Nobody else was asked for it, and yet these companies that have been going maybe 7 weeks since they were like launched onto like Companies House or whatever and registered are getting multi-million-pound contracts, and the ones that haven't delivered equals over £1 billion. So the Tories are very good at saying there's no public money tree, there's no special magic money tree, but then somehow find all this money to pull out their arse that only goes back into their own pockets. Nah, I think we need some fucking public revolt.
You're talking politics in general. We'll find ourselves in a situation
please
in a few years where we have an opposite government, and we'll be in the same situation.
Please don't think that this is me playing party politics or thinking like the SNP are much better. Like, I think they mean better, at least on face value, but like every politician, you don't ever look at what they say, you need to look at what they do.
Yeah.
And the last person I saw who was doing good and saying good in my mind was Jeremy Corbyn, and he spent 5 years being slandered and his name dragged through the mud as much as possible, including people in the party fucking with him as well. Probably not perfect. Not saying, I definitely think he would be better than fucking Theresa May or Boris Johnson, but I'm not saying that would ever happen. Do you know what I mean?
I'd forgotten all about good old Theresa May.
How bad does Boris Johnson have to be to make Theresa May look good? Let's be fucking honest here. Ridiculous.
Should we try and talk about something positive?
We could do.
I know
right,
the
anyway,
idea of talking about music is unappealing to you compared to ranting about politics.
No, I get a wee bit sidelined sometimes. I'm passionate about people looking after each other.
It's your main passion.
You know it is. Like, I can't help myself, and it might seem a bit stupid or a bit like humble braggy, but I would like to think that people would know, even if I don't know them, but they know the podcast. If they want to speak, they had an idea for something, they had content, or they wanted just a bit of advice or whatever, like, they can always reach out to us. I don't mind continuing to tell people about what's going on with my mental health. Fucking back on the sertraline, keep it going. That's me. I'll be on it for another 4 months, or such, to talk to the doctor about it, which is good. You know what I mean? I feel really good on it. I'm happy with it, and I've had a couple of people reach out, which we spoke about ongoing. I love that people do that. If it ever comes across that when I'm texting you back, if you send me a message that it seems like I'm not bothered or whatever, I promise that's not the case. I am an exceptionally busy person, and constantly being dragged left, right and centre, and I can be really bad at staying on top of social media stuff. So it's nothing, I promise it's nothing like personal. If you send me a message, I'll always make the effort to message you back, and I've had it before. But my point being, I like helping people, and I get really, really pissed off when systems of power and control seem to favour these cunts at the top and constantly shit on everybody else, because I think in the UK we are so politically inactive. We just accept what's going on. Like, think about places like fucking Paris, not even France, just Paris, right? Government decided, nah, you can't park in the streets, we're going to clamp you if you do that. Everybody in Paris was like, sound, clamp the motors then. And all of a sudden, just about everybody in the city was out with angle grinders and bolt cutters, ripping these things to bits. And everybody was just like, oh, that's not my car, but it's clamped, shop, don't give a fuck. And within weeks they went, up, park wherever you want, it's fine. There are more people in the general public, especially in the poor and working class, and the middle class as well, than there are in the richest top classes and in government. So in terms of footfall and power, we have it. If people are willing to go, nah, fuck this, and down tools and make their voices heard, things will change. But it's never going to happen because people are scared.
And this brought to you by the Guitar Souls political broadcast.
Vote Mike.
Yeah. I expect Yavor to, when he does the time codes for that entire section, to make a note of how long I didn't say anything for. The longest.
It's not very often you're speechless.
The longest time Levi didn't bother saying anything.
I think you just knew, like, nah, he's off in one. Let him get it out. It's like sometimes when kids have tantrums, like, just fucking knock yourself out. Go, get tired. Anyway, sorry. Let's move on to something really positive.
Meshuggah.
Yes, next album, mostly written.
Yeah.
Reported yesterday.
This is semi-disappointing to me because, Per Nilsson is not an official member of the band, so.
But the other thing is, they're probably going to end up recording in Frederick's incredible studio with Emmanuel Kemper.
Yeah.
For people who haven't caught the story when we spoke about it before, Frederick Thorndahl, being the utter fucking lunatic that he is, decided, fuck it, I'm going to build my own studio and I'm going to take all the amplifiers that I own and run them through amp switchers and have them all wired so I can run every one of them at any time. And I can switch between the amps seamlessly. So it's an analog Kemper he has in the studio. Levi might be bringing it up on screen. It looks like he's Googling.
No. It's too hard to find.
Are you kidding on?
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, it won't be something I'll be able to bring up on screen anyway. It will be something that I'll insert pictures of in post.
Yes. That was the first link it comes up to the Music Zoo after I search Frederick Thorndahl Studio, and it's brought everything up. I'll send you a link to it, right, so you can add it in. But when you look at this thing, you will be astounded. I mean, first of all, there are so many gorgeous guitars on the walls. Iceman shapes. There's 8 of them in one of the photos, and every one of them is fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to move
cool.
my head out of the way and just draw attention to the fact that I also have 8 guitars on the wall.
You do. Klotz took some really good photos of Frederick's studio because it was them that wired it, and it is really, to be honest, like wiring porn. It's beautiful, so well done. But he's got like, how many amplifiers are there? I mean, there's a load of studio rack gear, like old pods and Ada MP1s, and in the photo, and this isn't all the amps, there are 18 amps in there. Full valve amp heads. And then whatever else on top of that, there's an aux box sitting there as well. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm very interested to hear what the results will be with that, because Meshuggah are very well known for not really using amps on their stuff and everything to be programmed, or like, was it Cubase they recorded in? Or Logic maybe, and all the guitar tones came via plug-in,
right,
and then the drums were all programmed in even though Thomas Hack could play them. Like, these guys are so specific and meticulous about having their sound kind of an uncanny valley between is that a human or is that programmed.
Yeah.
For it to be that partially synthetic, if I don't know how else to describe it. But I would love to hear it. I would fucking love to hear it. I'd love to be in there and just press loads of buttons, like fucking hell, yes, tap dancing. So I'll read the story. Sorry. Meshuggah have been one of the more proactive bands in the metal scene when it comes to pandemic-related scheduling, having axed their entire 2021 touring slate this past summer so they could focus on getting new music out to fans. Writing and recording in the times doesn't come easy. Small changes to songs can take days instead of maybe hours, according to Meshuggah drummer Thomas Hack. But the band is hard at work on making it happen anyway, and Hack says that they are now most of the way there. Speaking to hard-hitting journalist Outpost Notfest.com, okay, Hack said the band's progress on their next album, while speaking about the tighter and tighter space he feels confined to creatively. I think we have most of the material for the new album. It takes a long time for us between each album, and this time due to COVID as well, it's going to be longer than usual, I think. Right now, we're aiming at a release in late 2021. Then the question mark right now is touring even going to happen at that point? And if not, do you release the album or do you hold off with it and try to make money some other ways, like doing live shows on the internet or whatever? So yeah, it's time consuming for sure. We tend to scrutinise everything we do a lot too. So I think to some degree you just turn kind of insane over time when you try to do this thing, because we always try to challenge ourselves and we always try to find something that we haven't done before. But we've done this for 30 years now, so it's harder and harder to find what's special with this. Like, this riff, is it cool enough? Or what's going on? So you tend to kind of overly scrutinise things. I think it's fucking mind-blowing that a band like Meshuggah, who are constantly pushing would ever be scrutinising of their own selves in that regard, to be so self-critical and analysing. I get you would need to be really meticulous about what you want from your band and your sound to get to where they are, but to make out like it's like we really deliberate over things, like, why?
That's why they're at the top of their game.
I know, but I also think like when you hear the album, sometimes it sounds effortless.
Yeah.
I remember like hearing Bleed and being like, oh my God, that's so fast, but it must not be that hard to play. And then you go out and try and play the rhythm and you're like, cool, this is 6 minutes of me murdering my right hand. Honestly, man, it's like a song that could give you carpal tunnel before you finish the song.
Yeah, that's I wanted to run with this story because I'm a big fan. And it's only in the last few years that I've been a big fan, but I'm a big fan. I think they're just an incredible band. So just drawing attention to the fact that, don't worry, Meshuggah still exist. They have new music coming. It'll be awesome. Keep an eye out for it. Keep talking about Meshuggah. That was really all I needed to. That's really all the story needed to be.
Well, that's good. Do you think Per will make an appearance on the album?
Well, you'd fucking hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, he's
love to
too
hear
good
him.
to not.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear him and Frederick like have like a solo off.
Yeah.
Only because Per's already kind of out the box, but he's very melodic, and then Frederick just goes down the Alan Holdsworth route, but can also do the melodic thing, and they can both also go, fuck it, let's just make some crazy noises.
Yep.
So I think it would be a very interesting thing to hear.
Yeah.
And considering there's not a lot of Meshuggah music with solos, that they're not thrown in just for the sake of it.
Yep.
They're always there to change the theme or as like a segue themselves, or to improve certain points as a break for vocals or whatever.
Sure.
It'd be interesting to see.
It's quite a noodly one on Bleed, obviously, but because that's the song that everybody seems to talk about with Meshuggah. But my favourite would be Rational Gaze. I think that song is just ridiculous.
Tune. Straw spilled at random.
Absolutely. Absolutely great. Should we run with, I think it's the final story, the pay for play thing?
It is, and yes, let's do it. Let's talk about something we probably all know happens. It's the second last story. Will we do the other one just quickly first?
Yeah. Where is that?
Sorry. It should just be a Facebook tag because it was just a photo in the group.
Okay. It's because I clicked away.
It happens.
Yeah.
This isn't so much a story. It's just something I wanted to bring up and as another piece of or another good example, of why not being very careful of the tropes of social media and the way that you present yourself and your band and your brand, and the ways that you perceive yourself and how you need to be very careful about the way you put things forward. Not necessarily like I'll just crack on. Yeah. I'm sure you can bring it up on screen, right? So Dead Kennedys post this photo of Alice in Wonderland, who's another artist. She's got a blue tick next to her name. I don't actually know any of her stuff.
No.
So I'm just going to quickly Google her. She's a DJ.
Right.
Her debut album Run was released March 2015, which peaked at number 6 on the ARIA albums chart and certified gold. She's obviously pretty big. She's signed to EMI and Universal, so credit where credit's due, good on her. From Sydney, Australia. So she also plays keyboards, synth, bass. She's a vocalist, and she does a lot of her own production as well. So clearly somebody that knows what they're doing, right? I'd imagine as a music fan. So there's a photo of her wearing a Dead Kennedys t-shirt, the Nazi punks fuck off one, with the swastika and the big red circle crossed out in the middle. Like this, as you'll see on screen, right? So the Dead Kennedys reposted this on Facebook saying she's got a great message. Sure, she may or may not have ever heard the song, but it's a great message. And Alice in Wonderland then reposted saying, "Hey Dead Kennedys, yes, I have been a fan since I was about 14, until about now, seconds ago. I guess that's why they say never meet your heroes." Why would you ever post that in your social media? Why would you be like, "Oh, look, this person's supporting our brand," but it's a woman, so she obviously doesn't like the music.
Well, we
she's
can't
young
go as
too.
far as saying there's not a single part of me that thinks that's because she's a woman. It's because she's a young person that doesn't play punk music.
Okay, maybe I'm being presumptuous, but there is a bubbling undercurrent of disrespect for women who wear merch of bands, because they always get questioned on whether they're a real fan or whether it's fashion. And I don't put that
You'd get
on
the same if
young
this
women.
was Bieber.
Potentially,
Yeah.
potentially. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just giving you my perspective on it. Because there are shops like Topshop and Primark and Matalan and whatever else, they've got a lot of
that these
licensed
bands,
merchandise.
that these bands license their images to, and then
Exactly.
play mortified when people buy them.
Exactly, right? So then to put out like, "Oh, that person probably hasn't even heard of our band," ha 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 ha. I don't know anybody that hasn't heard of the Dead Kennedys. I think my gran could probably sing fucking a Dead Kennedy song, you know what I mean? So shut up, don't be dicks, be careful about what you put in social media, and don't presume like this that people don't know your band if they're wearing your merch. It's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of butted heads on that. In the like, I feel the same message could go to you and I on that. Like with the Dead Kennedys, like, don't look at this woman and what she's doing here and make assumptions about her based on an image. We also shouldn't be making assumptions as to why the Dead Kennedys posted what they posted. I'm sure it's
Totally
because
fair.
they're unbelievably arrogant about the fact that, well, she's never listened to punk music. She's never listened to the Dead Kennedys. And yeah, I don't want to make any jumps and start branding the Dead Kennedys as misogynists, because I've not been presented enough reason to think that is the case. But what you can absolutely say is fucking terrible business move. Like,
yes, there's no case to be made. I know that there's no message here between you or I, or any hidden subcontext or anything that's saying between the lines that we're implying anything about the Dead Kennedys.
Yeah.
My point entirely was, if you have a band or a brand and you're not careful about how you manage your social media accounts, and you make assumptions and post things publicly about other public figures, which Alice in Wonderland is, you'll probably find that you're only making an arse of yourself.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to use this as an opportunity to plug our Teespring store. I feel like I should add a new T-shirt to the Teespring store that says "Dead to Me Kennedys," and then has the Kennedys logo crossed out, and underneath says "Arrogant punks fuck off" under it.
that sounds all right.
So there we go. It won't be in the Teespring store, but if you want to head to our Teespring store and pick up a T-shirt, that would always be appreciated. Wear your Guitar Sales merchandise with pride.
Please.
It's our
please,
Feed Mike fund.
Oh, I never told everybody I'm working now. I got a job last Wednesday.
Yes.
This Wednesday, sorry. Just temp, pretty good, enjoying it.
Yeah.
Easy going. Things are looking all right.
Good.
And again, to go back to the mental health stuff, I know I don't fucking shut up about it. With good intention. I think the sertraline are making a big difference.
Yeah.
I really do.
Good.
And my heart goes out to anybody who's suffering at the moment. God knows it's fucking shitty times. If there's anything either one of us can do, please let us know.
Kim,
if you're looking for me to
speaking
give...
on my behalf.
I'm speaking on your behalf. You're a guitar hole, but you will deal with it.
Yeah.
Aye, so yes, if you need anything, let us know.
I
But
find
if
that
it's
the
money,
main
I
reason
can't help.
the main reason fans reach out to me nowadays is to say, "Hey, Levi, I sent Mike a message and I've not heard back. Is this the right place to contact him?" And I'm like, all right, I'll let him know.
It's fucking Messenger. It just seems to be that people send you messages, they go into this outbox and it never tells you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'll just go and check that.
Yeah.
You have 19 message requests. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Fucking, I feel like a pure ignorant dick. But anyway, I'm an ignorant dick. It's just not out of badness.
Okay, final story.
Pay for play was banned from radio, but texts reveal it may still be thriving. The very concept of pay to play does my fucking box in.
Yeah.
Because it happens from ground level.
Yeah.
If you're in a band and you want gigs, promoters will very often go, okay, you can have a gig, but you need to sell 25 tickets or you owe us the money for them.
Yeah.
Take yourself to fuck. You're not a promoter if you're trying to get money from the bands to make your venues and your shows work.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the bands don't have a responsibility or a role in selling those tickets, but they're also not there to payroll your venture as a businessman. It has to be joint liability. It has to be joint effort. You're both supplying a different thing. Artists are supplying the art, the entertainment, sometimes the backline. The venue has to supply somewhere for that to happen and somewhere for fans to come to or for general punters to come to.
Yep.
So both parties have to be involved and have to be responsible. So the idea of pay to play just gets my back up because it's one of those lazy, backhanded systems in my mind.
It's a parasitic. But the music industry's always been extremely parasitic. It's business people coming in and trying to take advantage of people that create art. Generally speaking, people that create the art aren't so great at the business side of things. So I get it.
I think they're very easily rolled up in the following your dreams.
Yeah.
Part of following my dream is that the band is successful and that I can then cover my own costs of all the time that and money I've spent and effort I've put into building this ability, this skill that entertains people. So the least you can expect is to not get fucking shilled. But anyway.
So this is on Rolling Stone, and it's the reason I shared this actually was because this was posted around social media, and aside from it being an interesting story, the real reason I saw a lot of journalists posting it, and they were posting about it saying, it's not often you see good, high quality investigative journalism from the Rolling Stone, but as far as this piece goes, this is a tip-top example of top quality investigative journalism, and deserves a read. So I was like, okay, I feel that we need to tip our hat to Rolling Stone and also draw attention to the fact that, pay for play still keeps going.
Not be surprised.
You want to be successful
in
this industry? Pay me the money.
That's it. It's nice to see it being whistleblown to some degree.
Yeah.
And I kind of disagree with the comment about Rolling Stone. I don't know what their journalism side is like. I don't want to cast any aspersions or make any comments on something that I genuinely don't know.
Sure.
I don't read it or anything. But I would think it being such a big medium, such a household name, there must be some integrity behind it and some standards. But anyway, let's read this. So among the 2,500 text messages obtained by Rolling Stone, several suggest a link between airplay and record label payments. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
In June 2019, Mitch Mills, a senior vice president of radio promotion at Elektra Records, sent an urgent text to Steve Zapp, an independent radio promoter who works with a number of stations in the adult contemporary format. The pair are both long-time players in the music industry and have texted each other periodically about Warner Music Group acts, including Panic at the Disco, 21 Pilots, and Fits and the Tantrums. So I know two of those three bands. The June 2019 text shows that Mills was worried about because Panic at the Disco were receiving fewer plays than they had the previous week on a station Zapp oversaw. Stevie, down 11 in Panic, Mills wrote, I just did a 2K deal with you. I need Panic back up. The text is one of more than 2,500 messages involving Zapp that have been obtained by Rolling Stone. A number of these texts covering 2018 to July of this year, which is October, this was posted 5 days ago, so this year, refer to conversations with major label executives about promotional giveaways and payments to a radio station in connection with airplay, practices that have supposedly been banned. Where there is money, no such ban will ever matter.
Yeah.
Money corrupts people. Everybody has a price.
Yeah.
I would think that even you and I, who I consider being fairly strong when it comes to personal integrity, if you were offered the right figure, you would go, why the hell not?
Well, yeah, like this podcast is a commercial entity at its core.
Yeah,
So if somebody wants to sponsor this podcast and there's money there, we will consider that, because
absolutely.
that's just this business. The idea of like this is something that helps the music industry go round, money in general, and saying it's banned, therefore it will no longer. It's like saying, well, fortunately, drugs were made illegal a very, very long time ago, and thankfully, because of that, there are no drugs in the music industry anymore.
That's right. And prohibition stopped drinking altogether.
Yeah.
Remember? It's just fucking. It's lunacy to think that that's something that can actually be controlled.
Yeah.
If there is a demand, there will be supply.
Yeah.
If people are willing to pay that money to get something they want, there will be people who are willing to take that money to give people what they want. Anyway, some of the activity described in Zapp's correspondence echoes behaviour that originally led former New York Attorney General Elliot Spitzer to investigate the major labels beginning in 2004. Mills did not reply to a request for comment. That's good journalism. That's very good journalism. Here's the story I'm going to write. You have a right to reply.
Yep.
You can put your case forward.
Yep.
Whether you choose to comment or not, it's up to you. But it's going to run here.
I should be clear. I'm not suggesting, when I made the comment about high quality investigative journalism from Rolling Stone, I'm not suggesting that they're a gossip rag. I'm just suggesting that the idea of proper investigative journalism, where you're exposing shitty things that are going on in the business, and a lot of time and effort has to go into researching and reporting on a story like this. It's very different from reporting on Meshuggah's latest album. It's easy to just talk with a band,
of course,
to write something that people are interested in, versus write something that I think this is something that is important. People should want to read about this, versus the things that we know they want to read about. So yeah, again, well done, Rolling Stone.
Especially on top of that, them being such a major publication, one of the very few magazines that lasted through and that still get put out monthly. For a story like this to be there could be a lot of people who maybe don't know about this, reading it and being like, well, wait a minute. So it's got a really good market. I wasn't suggesting in any way, shape or form about any of the journalistic integrity of them. I was just commenting that it's good to see that that's been mentioned, that they gave them the right to reply and they didn't comment.
Yeah.
It's a common thing.
Sure.
I'm not saying it goes under the radar, but it's definitely appreciated. I think it makes the findings and the claims so much more legitimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So anyway, I'll continue. Record labels endeavour to gain airplay for their songs by providing such inducements to the radio stations as promotional support, which the stations can then either use to help meet their own operational needs or as prizes and giveaways, the New York Attorney General's office wrote at the time. Spitzer's investigation culminated in multi-million-dollar settlement agreements with the major labels, but in 2019, radio veterans said these pay-for-play tactics continue at certain stations. They'll continue across everyone and they'll just be put under a different bracket in the accountant.
Yeah, just so work out different ways to get away with it.
100%. It's just how it works.
Yeah.
Not that I condone it, not that I think it's good, but let's just be fucking realistic. Zapp is a music industry veteran who started his career in 1986 for Virgin Records, America, before becoming a vice president in promotions for then Warner Brother Records and MCA Records. In 2004, he started a management and promotion company called Z Entertainment, which spawned a record label of the same name in 2011 and his label Artbeat in 2015. Known for his power in the hot AC format, think non-threatening pop, Zapp has also worked with Aaron Carter and the pop singer Dea, known for her 2015 hit Hideaway. Zapp's texts show that the record labels routinely seek to influence the level of radio play to achieve specific chart goals for their artists, which in and of itself would raise no issues. But his messages also explicitly refer to payments in money or goods to radio in connection with airplay. Several of Zapp's texts discuss paying or billing for radio play, either when a song is added to a station's playlist or when a song's spin count is increased. In a March 2019 text from Zapp to a radio station employee, he wrote, "Tell me when you move up stuff. I could have billed on Khalid and BSB moving up." That month, Khalid had a pair of singles on the Hot AC chart while the Backstreet Boys' No Place was hovering outside the top 20. The texts show no evidence that any artists, who rarely run their own radio campaigns, were communicating with Zapp or involved in any negotiations with radio stations, which is good.
Yeah.
Nice to see they've got at least a layer of plausible deniability. One text discusses Zapp charging for plays in the overnight slot between midnight and 6 a.m. when few listeners are tuned in. In April 2019, Gasoline, a sombre ballad from the English brother-sister trio, The Rua, was moving towards the top 30 on the Hot AC chart. Please put Rua into 50 spin rotation, Zap texted, just for 6 weeks. I can use the billing. Mostly nights and overnights, of course. This is how I will get the bills paid until we make money. And when a label was unwilling to pay, a text from Zap warned the radio station not to take directions from the record company. Please don't let Interscope dictate anything to you, he wrote. They don't pay me shit.
Scumbag.
Similarly, as Billie Joe Armstrong's cover of I Think We Alone Now was climbing the radio charts in May, Zap intervened at the radio station because playing the song was not paying bills. The promoter's text included the instruction, Billie Joe needs to go down. In a statement to Rolling Stone, Zap vehemently denied any wrongdoing and claimed that the texts were provided by a former employee motivated by the recent loss of his job. That doesn't change the context or the content of what's been shown. It just proves that guy didn't say anything while he was employed and that you fucked someone over and they've went, well, okay then, I know where the bodies are buried.
I've been outed for the totally wrong reasons. This isn't fair.
Exactly. What do you mean I need to be held accountable for my own shitty actions? Fuck you. How dare you? Yeah. The promoter says he worked hard to help young musicians become better known in the music industry. As part of that work, Zap says, I try to sell radio station program directors on the merits of my client's music, and to make friends with program directors at various stations, all within legal bounds. Sounds like it. You say that I requested airplay and awarded a station with consideration, and that such linkage is established by text messages, Zap's statement continued. The actual texts, though, do not support your characterizations. In the texts, no specific consideration is linked with any specific instance of airplay. Therefore, allegations that I purchased airplay through quid pro quo agreements would be reckless and extremely damaging. So his defence is, I didn't explicitly say I would pay them 50 grand in the text message for this. You're just getting the subcontext from what I've actually said and the mounting evidence that this has happened over several different times.
Sure.
How dare you imply that the evidence points to this fairly solid theory? We don't have exact evidence, but you're making good bounds towards what probably is the truth.
We'll stop the story there, and I'll encourage people to go and actually read this article because we do want to send people over to Rolling Stone. But I just want to draw attention to what he said there at the end, pointing out that it would be reckless and extremely damaging. It's almost like he was trying to intimidate Rolling Stone into not running with this story through fear of some sort of, lawsuit. And that pleases me because there's no way that Rolling Stone will have published this story without running it by their legal team. And their legal team are very confident in what they have published here. So I think that's good.
I think at the end of the day, they have the New York Attorney General's office behind them.
Yeah.
Considering this was supposed to have been clamped down on, and anything that's going to look remotely like that will be looked at with very scrutinising eyes from a government body.
Absolutely.
Quite a high government body. I mean, the Attorney General's usually pretty up there. The New York Attorney General's office looking into one man and some shady actions. Supposed shady actions, sorry. Alleged.
Yeah. I like the idea, though. I like the idea of the New York Attorney General's looking into this guy. And I think that more looking into needs to be done because this isn't right. On the note of looking into things, have you looked into... This show has been brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. If you have the time, please do head on over and follow them on Instagram to see more of their incredible work. I'm actually spending more and more of my time each day scrolling through Instagram and really getting the appeal of looking at incredible instruments like this. It just makes you want to order something really, really special. Of course, you can always contact them if you want to order a custom shop guitar, or head on over to their website, check out the pre-order section and get involved on the upcoming Goliath Run 14. Again, one of these guitars can be pre-ordered for as little as $1,200 US. That's an incredible price. That's a lot of guitar for very little money. So if you want something like this in your life, head on over to ormsbyguitars.com and get involved. Thanks so much to Ormsby, and we'll see you for another show soon. Laters. So, as always, a huge thank you to our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. Please do go and check them out. Maybe consider picking up a guitar or following them on Instagram or buying a t-shirt or just telling them how great they are and telling your friends about their wonderful work. We like them very much. And thanks again, Perry.
Yes, and thank you everybody listening because we don't take it lightly. I know that Ormsby don't take it lightly. And there might be something coming up in the near future that will give our lovely listeners the opportunity, potentially, to sample these fine beasts and see what happens. Anyway, we'll leave it at that because I was getting a bit too close to giving it away. And I also want to say, just randomly, I saw today that Kieran's EP, K-Mac 2021, his EP Imposter, has had 1 million streams as of today. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And I know he doesn't always put content out. He knows that himself. I love his integrity. It's funny we're talking about integrity in the last thing. I love that Kieran just does whatever he wants. He doesn't have Raid Shadow Legends on every video because he doesn't think it's appropriate to his channel, and he doesn't dilute what he thinks is his brand, which is really cool. And I'm super glad that he's got 1 million organic listens on that EP because it is fucking banging.
Well, you say that. Who knows how much pay to play is going on?
Well, that's true. Kieran could be out there shilling. Kieran, have you got a farm? Like a bot going or something?
He's just sending out £50 notes to people saying, can you go and stream my album, please?
Overnight. You dirty pig.
So well done, Kieran. Well deserved. It's a good record. Go check it out. And, of course, go and buy the tabs for it because
you know they're right. Not only did Kieran do them, Levi done them with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, straight for the horse's mouth and the best in the business. What can you do? What more could you want?
I mean, a hand job. We could throw in a hand job if the price is right.
We done so well in getting an episode out that wasn't smutty.
Yeah, me offering my big beastly hands.
How big are you going? Are you going to a horse or something?
Well, you know,
whatever. What the fuck?
No, I was trying to save time, so I'm getting like 10 cocks at once.
All right, I thought you were mixing paint. Jesus Christ. I don't know what you're packing down there, but Jesus Christ.
Not much. It's
all right. It's not about the size of the boat, it's the motion in the ocean. Which is
true. But I'm in the Dead Sea, unfortunately.
It's not the size of the organ, it's the cathedral you play in.
Yeah, I do find gigs are definitely a lot more enjoyable when the venue's more intimate, shall we say.
That's it.
Oh, endless cock jokes. Any closing messages for our wonderful friends, family, audience, friends, fans, geezers that watch the show and people that watch us because they want to hate fuckers?
Come ahead. Love to all of you. I hope you're all well and safe. I care deeply about anybody that has any interest whatsoever in what we're doing, and even if you're not interested, I still care about you too. I believe in goodwill to all men, as I've been talking the last couple of episodes and fucking you up with, which has been fun. Except the Tories. No, I'm only kidding. It's the policies I have problems with, not necessarily the people, and certainly not people that support the party unless they support all of these crazy fucking stupid policies. Anyway, that's a totally different story. I'm not going down the negative route. I love you all. Thanks again, Perry. Thanks to everybody else at Ormsby. I've been playing guitar more recently again, which has been fucking fantastic. So Party Cannon had a pre-production kind of session last Saturday. Martin recorded drums, so I am going to have a go at miking up some guitar cabs and recording some tracks, and we'll see how that goes. Failing that, I might come down and harass you for a shot at the Kemper, etc. I'm probably going to try and borrow your Rev at some point again as well.
Yep.
I really want to get a D or a G20 just for recording in the house, man, because it's just, how can you go wrong?
Yeah.
Anyway, when I've got money, that'll happen. Eventually.
Will that ever happen again?
We'll wait and see.
We're both living in poverty land now.
For now.
Yeah.
For now. Until this podcast goes viral and we end up making millions off it. I mean, we're going to knock Joe Rogan clean off that top spot. And both of us will be like, and we're not hypocrites. We don't take cash bribes to come onto platforms, like notes falling out your t-shirt and shit.
The dream. Mike, until next time.
I love you all.
No, fuck you, right? Bye, fuckers. Fuck you all. Fuck off.
Fuck you, Levi. Bye, lovers.